Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a magnetic excursion update Thursday, July 10th, 10 p.m. Mountain Time, 2025. Coronal hole 63, trans-equatorial, extending all the way across the entire face of the sun, will be facing Earth over the weekend. The plasma stream could arrive as early as the 12th, but the main force from this hole will be the 13th and the 14th. And the seismic swarm at Mount Rainier continues with now 399 quakes in just over a week. Keep calm. It's boom time. Texas flood rescue teams continue to search for scores of missing people as the death toll climbs. The search for more than 170 people still missing after flash floods devastated central Texas stretched into a seventh day on Thursday as the death toll continues to rise. At least now 121 people have been confirmed dead, according to local law enforcement, and there are 161 people known to be missing in Kerr County alone, according to officials. President Trump signed a federal disaster declaration at Abbott's request. And a large majority of the flooding deaths occurred in Kerr County, where officials have confirmed at least 96 people have died. The largest flooding tragedy in quite some time. Good news, Colorado State lowers hurricane season expectations, but above average season is still expected. So cross your fingers and hope for the best. In Antarctica is below minus 80 C. That's minus 112 Fahrenheit, with relentless snowstorms slamming the Australian Alps as Mont Blanc hits minus 17.7 C. It's the coldest July low on record. And let's talk about Antarctica. There's nothing warm about Antarctica. Minus 82 right there. And take a look at this video. Heavy snow is continuing to pound the Aussie Alps with no sign of a slowdown. Visibility has dropped significantly across the likes of Mount Hotham as snowfall intensifies, and we'll just replay that. Definitely well over a foot there. All the links will be below. A quick look over at Tornado HQ, and we've just had 2 tornado warnings pop up in Illinois, Iowa, in Bureau, Rock Island, and Scott counties. We also have a severe thunderstorm threat in New York for counties up near the Adirondacks, Clinton, Essex, and Franklin. So there is that. And there is the tornado warnings north of Galesburg and Peoria, south of Clinton, moving through. Some severe weather there around the Great Lakes. Take a look at that. So heed the warnings. If you're in those tornado warnings, get inside and get to safety. And now the full forecast. We've got thunderstorms and heavy rainfall in the Central Plains and the Midwest. Heavy rain and flooding concerns in the Southern Plains this weekend. Strong thunderstorms are forecast across parts of the Central Plains and Midwest through Friday morning, with damaging wind, gusts, large hail, and heavy rainfall as the primary threats. We now have tornado warnings that we just showed you. Over the weekend, heavy to excessive rainfall and flash flooding concerns will return to portions of Oklahoma and Texas, the nexus of the Schmexis. We've got flood warnings and watches out here for North Carolina into Virginia, and tornado warnings and watches out for where there's a tornado warning and watch right now, right over that northern Illinois. Approaching Indiana. The Great Lakes region is under threat tonight, and there we can see that threat. Milwaukee south, and it's the very southern and back end of the storm where those tornado warnings are occurring right now. Quick look over at the GFS model. Shows those storms developing and moving, boom, exploding, which they're doing right now. 3-6 hours. It should be all over by morning when more development Friday and Saturday occurs in the same region. And then it translates there to the south in Texas, the nexus of the Schmexis for a few days. And then the northern tier again kicks up here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the beginning of next week. A quick look at total accumulated precipitation. We'll see where the flooding threat is. It's right where those tornado warnings are occurring right now. So heed the warnings and get into shelters if needed. Seismic update. Here we are at the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, and you can see 399 quakes showing up. 52 quakes at St. Helens, 399 at Rainier. That is quite substantial. The good news, in the last 2 hours, there's just been one quake. But in the last 2 days, that's all the orange. So we gained about 80 more quakes today, I believe. So a lot still going on. This seismic swarm is still ongoing, and we'll keep a close eye on it for you. Seismic update. Once again, this is the whole world. Most recent quake just kicking off on the mid-Indian Ridge, 5.0. Two 5.0s earlier today, one in Guatemala and a 5.1 in Mexico. We've got potentially some frac activity here in Kansas, definite frac activity in Toya, Texas, and Yabanes, Texas. Frac quake much? And the East African rift zone is getting spicy with the 4.A in Orkney, South Africa, as the country rips apart and forms a new ocean. Worldwide volcano news for July 10th. Volcano, an eruption was reported, as well as Kirishima. Possible activity continuing there. Ibu on the list. An eruption was reported. Nevada de Ruiz, possible volcanic ash emission. And the 28th paroxysm at Kilauea was spectacular and is now over. Shivalush, volcanic ash not identifiable. Sakurajima, 7,000 foot puff there. Liwotolo to 6,000 feet. Dukono, an eruption was reported. Ibu to 7,000. Popo to 22,000. Santaguito to 14,000. Samadu, who knew, now you do 15,000 foot blast there. Medapi on the list, 14,000 foot. Shivalush, puffing and passing, as well as Dukono. And Ibu as well. Nevada de Ruiz, possible volcanic ash. Popo, no volcanic ash. And Medapi, wrapping up the list with a 14,000 foot blast. And that brings us to space weather. The main news is a large coronal hole number 63 will be facing Earth all weekend. We should couple with us as early as the 12th, with the major effects on the 13th and the 14th. Detailed forecast not showing any geomagnetic storming. Just hasn't been updated, in my opinion. This will change tomorrow in the update. Let's take a look at the latest HMI. We do have a moderately significant sunspot region, 4136, that is now turned around the limb and is going to be facing Earth in just a few days in the kill zone. But no magnetic complexity, very low-level flaring, nothing really happening on the sun as we drop down into solar minimum over the next few years. Did you feel it? Earth just had one of its shortest days ever, and 2 more are coming. Yeah, Earth is spinning quite fast. As Earth spins faster than it has in decades, atomic clocks are catching the difference in milliseconds, and shorter days are on the horizon. On the 9th of July, 2025, yesterday, Earth spun a little faster than usual, enough to make the day 1.3 to 1.6 milliseconds shorter than the standard 24 hours. This may not sound like much, but it was the shortest day since modern records began. And it's not a one-off either. Scientists expect 2 more short days this summer on July 22nd and August 5th. All thanks, in part, to the moon, which is its closest it's been in 18.6 years. So there you go. Why does Earth not rotate at a perfectly constant speed? Well, while we define a day as 24 hours, in reality, the length of a day can vary slightly from one day to the next due to both internal and external forces acting on our planet. Over long timescales, Earth's rotation is actually gradually slowing down, largely because of tidal friction from the moon. The moon's gravity pulls on Earth's oceans, creating tidal bulges that act like a brake. This adds about 2 milliseconds to the length of a day every century. But over shorter time scales, days to months, Earth's spin can actually speed up, and that's what's happened on July 9th. And it will also happen on July 22nd and August 5th. So let me know if you can tell the difference. And July's full moon, the full buck moon, rose today. Well, it was full at 4:36 p.m. Eastern Time today. It will become visible when it rises over the southeastern horizon as the sun sets in the evening sky. and the exact time that moonrise takes place, which is around 8:53 p.m. local time in New York, well, it's probably happening now. So get out and look up at the full buck moon, the lowest in the night sky for the entire lunar standstill cycle, and the largest as it rises, because it is penetrating through the most atmosphere, which is acting like a magnifying glass. Good news on the scientific front. Trump hires scientists who doubt the consensus on climate change. This is the best move ever in decades. 3 scientists joined the administration after it dismissed hundreds of experts who were assessing how global warming is affecting the country. Yeah, cow farts are not doing anything, so there is that. But good news, one of those scientists is a friend of the channel, Roy Spencer. Also, Steve E. Koonin, a physicist and author of a best-selling book that calls climate science unsettled, and the well-known John Christie, an atmospheric scientist who doubts the extent to which human activity has caused global warming. So good news on the climate front, we actually have critically thinking scientists now working in the White House. Archeologists uncovered the tomb of Cobb Chalk, the first ruler of the ancient Mayan city Tikal. Fascinating. Archaeologists from the University of Houston working at Tikal in Belize, I've been there, Central America, have uncovered the tomb of Cobb Chalk, the first ruler of this ancient Mayan city and the founder of its royal dynasty. Now in ruins, this metropolis was a major political player in the Mayan history, dominating the southern part of the Yucatan Peninsula from 560 to 680 AD. That's just 120 years, very short-lived, before it was abandoned in 900. And in just that short period, they built structures like this. Absolutely fascinating. Just a little over the century for the longevity of this city. And, well, it was grandiose, to say the least. All the links will be below. A nighttime pistachio snacking may reshape gut microbiome in pre-diabetic adults. Yeah, there's a huge amount of people getting diagnosed with pre-diabetes. It affects, in fact, now a third of the people in the United States. And many of them, many doctors suggest you eat carbohydrates before you go to bed, like 30 grams, like 2 slices of bread or something. But in a controlled study, they gave pistachios. The findings published in the journal Current Developments in Nutrition suggested that replacing the traditional carbohydrate-based bedtime snack with pistachios may reshape your gut biome. Yeah, the microbiome in your gut, which controls your health and longevity. A previous study by these researchers demonstrated that pistachios have a similar effect on blood glucose as 15 to 30 grams of carbs, but they do something even better. They change your gut microbiome to actually stave off prediabetes. Researchers observed that consuming about 2 ounces of pistachios each night for 12 weeks resulted in significantly different stool microbial communities compared to those who consumed 15 to 30 grams of carbohydrate snacks. Specific bacterial groups, including Roseburia and members of the Lachnospiraceae family, known as good bacteria that produce beneficial short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, were more abundant following the pistachio condition. So get yourself some pistachios and see what happens. Now, guys, have you seen? Holy macaroni, Bitcoin reaching an all-time high just moments ago, now up above 116,000 at 116,671. Yeah. Trump's policies are working. Bitcoin is soaring. And not only cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin's going to hit 250,000 by the end of the year. Mark my words. But precious metals are soaring as well. Gold at an all-time high, silver reaching decadal all-time highs, now at $37. Do you remember a couple years ago when I was imploring all of you to buy silver when it was $13.50? Guys, you've tripled your money. And those that did it It's only going to the moon. Silver's going to hit $50 this year. Mark my words. And if you've got 401ks, the stock market is going to crash at some point. So why not hedge your bets? And trust Goldco, the industry leader from precious metal IRAs to direct purchases of gold and silver. They've helped thousands of Americans diversify and protect their retirement savings every day. Request your free 2025 gold and silver kit. There's no obligation. There are no penalties from converting your 401k to precious metals. It's win-win. And everything is going to the moon. And that's a boom to knowledge. Hit the thumbs up. Get your free gold and silver kit and share this video. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so we need all of you watching that are unsubscribed to subscribe now and hit the notification bell. And be well. We have been posting every day for over a decade on this channel, and we appreciate our #1 supporters. We love you all. Be safe, and that is a boom.